kind of screwed up his start. He's actually got caught up. Sorry, we're going to have to jump in there. He put his foot down a little bit too quickly and got the car actually moving and lost the rear on it and spun in front of the whole field and managed not to actually get caught up in it too badly. Sorry to jump over that one. So Michael Skurlock in the Pace Syndicate car does lead away. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Abruzzi ANZCAR Cup here at Charlotte Oval. It's me, Carl Withy, joined by Jonathan Hancock tonight. How you going, Jono?
Good, how are you, Carl?
Not too bad, not too bad. I have another cold at Charlotte. It seems to be a seasonal thing for this racetrack. Always fun.
Yeah, it's always fun, those colds.
So, I'm just going to quickly go through the championship standings before we get started tonight. Danny G has managed to get himself up into first place in championship standings after a great win last time out, with Michael Skurlock second, Edward Foster in third with those constant sort of good finishes. He's always been up there or thereabouts. Josh Micklemore in fourth. Fifth place we have Jason Hartigan, again having a very consistent season with Hamish Gallagher in sixth. Seventh, Matthew Cluett with James Roby in eighth. Ninth, Jason Martin, surprisingly so far down, with 10th, Norman Clark. Jason Martin's surely going to be wanting to try and get back up there in this race, a race where he's had a lot of success in the past.
Yeah, Jason's been strong this year too as a driver, so he'll hopefully push up and we'll see a good result out of him tonight.
Hopefully so. Well, he's done the best thing he can for the start of this race, and that's starting off in pole. So I'll quickly just run through the field. So on the front row, we have Jason Martin with Jackson Callow. Second row, Norman Clark with Bradley Amazon. Third row, Danny G with Michael Skurlock. Fourth row, Kai Sloggett with Dave Douglas. Fifth row, Jason Hartigan with Edward Foster. Sixth, Barry Neal with Matt Hunter. Seventh, Josh Micklemore and Matthew Cluett. Seventh is James Roby with Mick Wilson. Eighth is Philotto with Stephen Williams. Ninth row is S. Patterson with Shea Thompson. The ninth row is Paul Jackson with Tristan Koch. 10th we have Lachlan and Joshua Carroll Walden. 11th row is Hammy Stein and Jamie Dyke. 12th row is Stacey Walker and Michael Latterer. 13th row is Raymond Yeager and Riley Curtis. And 14th row is Rob Fletcher with Mark Johansson. So, pretty stacked grid out there tonight, but it's looking good for Jason Martin out there in front.
Yeah, it's definitely looking good. He's done the right thing, putting it on pole there tonight. And he has been doing quite well. He's just had some unfortunate problems out there and some unfortunate luck the last few rounds.
Yes, it seems like he's kicked cats while walking underneath ladders this season. He's not had the best of luck out there. A few drivers have had some really just unfortunate incidents, but Martin has been sort of involved in a couple of them. It is good to see as well Norman Clark up there. Very high position for Norman Clark. Watching him through practice today, he's had some serious speed, so it's good to see him up there as well. But the Mitch Motorsport boys, they've got their cars in that sort of top 5 position. They've got 2 cars there at the moment. Meanwhile, JP Simshed have got themselves with Norman Clark and Edward Foster in the top 10. So quite good for the teams at the moment. But the pace car's going to be going around. We're going to be getting ready for the start very shortly. And first lap is underway. Just want to mention, actually, number 10 of Dave Douglas had a moment out on the back straight and has lost quite a few positions. Almost got collected by some of his team, some of the fellow drivers out there tonight, coming back on track. A bit of a hairy moment down there, but Jason Martin has managed to get away this time, unlike last time out at Martinsville. He's managed to get on it, and looks like Jackson Callow might just side-check the wall there slightly. And we've got Danny G going down the inside of Norman Clark, pushing him out wide, and that's going to allow Kai Sloggett to get through as well, and Sloggett gets past. So Norman Clark just dropping down a few positions there. They're losing out to Danny G and Kai Silver at the same time. But Edward Foster is on a charge. He's moving up the field. He's just behind his teammate now, Norman Clark.
Yeah, and look at Bradley here coming, trying to push underneath of Mr. Jackson here, as he's going to get done in 1 and 2. And tonight, Bradley is running he's currently looking for a team. If anyone's looking for a new up-and-coming driver.
Yeah, well, he's definitely showed his form out there tonight. He goes underneath Jason Martin and takes the lead. Fantastic first lap for Bradley Allison there. Jason Martin's going to try and get him on the outside of the tri-ovalish section here, but doesn't manage to do it just yet. It looks like Bradley's got the speed and he's going to get it. Now, Martin is at danger of losing the position to his teammate as Danny G just slips in behind him. Martin slips down to the inside now as they come down to turns 3 and 4, pushing Bradley Allison wide, and that's going to lose him some positions. A big train of cars behind him, and he's going to drop right back from 1st to 4th.
That's Charlotte. It's very one line here. If you get put on the outside, like most of these oval tracks, you end up getting put a fair way back down the path.
It's very easy to lose a lot of positions on this track. It's a bit of a trickier one to race, and you can easily lose the car here as well. The tail doesn't like going through turns 3 and 4 generally. The tail tends to get a little bit slippery as you go through those sections.
Yeah, it tends to just want to move around and get out from underneath you. As we now see Danny G on that outside line, and a few cars actually starting to form up out there.
Yeah, trying to push that outside line as Bradley Allison's got down underneath, and he's currently sitting on the back of Jason Martin, who has managed to get back in the lead with a huge gap behind him. He's pulled out a decent amount of time there, just trying to run away from the other drivers, but they're all over the place at the moment. Two lines trying their best to form, but it's looking a bit hairy on that outside one. Danny G might lose some positions here, as well as Jackson Callow.
Ed's making some moves out there at the moment as we see him and his teammate Jason there getting past Jackson.
Forcing their way past Jackson Callow, and the JP Signature boys are pushing their way up. Just behind Jackson Callow is now Norman Clark. Behind him is Michael Skurlock. He's also pushing very hard, coming up quite quickly himself. Just behind him, we've got a good little battle between Barry Neal and Josh Micklemore. A little bit further down from Micklemore than we usually expect.
Yeah. With him in that new paint and that new team, we see them growing and expanding with, I believe, Jackson is a new driver. I could be wrong. I haven't seen him out here before in their paint.
I think Jackson's newish to the team. I can't remember if he was with them before or not, but recent joins to Pace Syndicate. Jackson Callow, though, very fast driver, has got extremely good qualifying speed. Sometimes just losing a bit of time through the race, but it's that thing of having that raw talent underneath him, and you've just got to work that little bit to get the consistency in there. When he does that, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Already taken some wins at the Cup Series through prior seasons, back when it used to be Thunder. But yeah, definitely got some speed out there. Kai Sloggett is also coming up quite fast as well. He's giving it a great push. He's up in second at the moment.
Yeah, he's doing quite well for MFR out there at the moment.
And good to see indeed. There's fighting all the way through the actual the field. Just trying to pick a sort of battle to follow at the moment. It's a hard thing to do sometimes, as they're all battling it out at the front, as Bradley Allison gets another good run, getting past Kai Sloggett with Danny G, Edward Foster, Jason Hartigan and Jackson Callow all following him. Will Callow be able to make the move on on him. He's going to try his best. He's currently just sitting up there. He's going to drop down, sit on the back end of Hartigan now and try and get underneath Kai Sloggett. Looks like he's going to do it. And Kai is trying his best not to let the pass happen, but he's going to get there eventually. Kai Sloggett goes down to try and crisscross, get under the inside of him. Will he have enough speed to do it? Doesn't look like it this time round. Maybe next lap he'll be able to get it. At the front though, Bradley Allison is trying to chase down a fleeing Jason Martin. Meanwhile, we've got Edward Foster and Jason Hardigan having a good little battle with the teammates there. A little bit further back, we've got Michael Skurlock just dropping down a little bit, having a good fight with Barry Neal, who's having a good fight with Matt Hunter. So lots of battles all across the field at the moment. It's pretty action-packed out there tonight.
Yeah, it's very action-packed out there.
And that's not even talking about the chaotic nature of what's happening down the back end of the field as well. There's lots of action all over the place, but we keep to the front at the moment as evening starts to creep into the track. The shadows grow longer as the sun starts to set, and that's going to help these cars a bit. And it looks like Hardigan has managed to make the move stick on Foster. He's got past him, and now Jackson Callow is going to try and get his own move done. Gets very close to the back of Foster this time round. He's going to pull down to the inside, is he? No, he sits there. The two battle on. And Danny G has managed to get out in front as well, so he's got into that second place, and he's going to be working tail gunner at the moment for his teammate, but he still wants to catch him up. Teammates are one thing, but you know, when there's a championship in there, you do want to try and get your extension as quickly as possible, and Danny G is definitely going to want to do that tonight. He's sitting in a good position. A lot of his championship rivals are a bit further down than normally expected. Probably the closest one at the moment is Edward Foster in 5th. And the front field has started just to ease out a little bit. They're falling into that single file formation as tyres start to drop off a little bit here at Charlotte. And that tends to be a big factor here. Easy to happen here because it is quite a tyre heavy track. The front right tends to get a lot of attention here as it gets beaten across the track. Just dropping down the field a little bit, Joshua Carroll Walden in the Jason Simpson team. He's got the two DPR cars of Phil Otto and Stephen Williams behind him, trying their best to get past them, and he's trying to catch up to Hamish Gallagher, who's got a decent bit of a gap between himself and JCW, the winner of the first race of the season, of course, at Daytona.
Yeah, there's two of those cars now for those guys out there.
Yeah, the DPR team just growing slowly, which is a good thing. It's like, we like to see that. It's always
quality
nice
over quantity.
Oh, sorry.
I was just saying quality over quantity for those guys, it seems.
Absolutely, and they've been having some good races this season. Stephen Williams is always a good hand, and Phil Otto has just been getting better and better as well. He's having some good charges out there, maybe not the best luck at times though.
Yeah. Mr. Jason Martin's just slowly making a bit of a gap there out towards the front.
He is. He's making a bit of a gap pulling away. Just actually having a bit of a look. Here's that Kai Sloggett has actually hitted the car and taken it in, and might be out of this race, unfortunately. I'm trying to see if I can figure out what happened there, but it looks like something's just happened to him where he's just had to pull it out. So not sure exactly what's happened to Kai Sloggett. But there's also a damaged Mick Wilson in the pits as well. So a few cars may be suffering some unseen damage from the street.
Yeah, and Jason Martin made the move on Bradley Ellison there and gotten by for third. And something must have happened to Jason because he's dropped about 0.02 of a second, back down to 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, falling back into the grasp of his teammate. He seems to be able to get that good lead straight away, and then just falls out a little bit.
It
It
is
could
by
be.
a fall of time, I believe, Carl. Is about lap 20-25.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're getting into that point now, and the people are going to start to really feel it now. Those tyres do not like this track when it falls off. But the advantage for these guys is the sun is pretty much set now. So the track's going to cool off and become a little bit easier for them.
Sorry, I'm 10 laps out, Carl. 35 to 40 is tyre fall off from my testing. I'm getting a bit excited, mate.
Getting a little bit too excited. You do notice though, you start losing a bit of time as you get through there though. With every about 10 or so laps, the grip does start to drop out a little bit, but when you get to that sort of 35 lap mark, it just falls off a cliff, and it's almost like everything falls away at once, isn't it?
Yeah, as we ride on board here with Jace Hardigan. He's just looking at the two teammates here in front of him at the moment of Denny G and Jason Martin. Now, could have Jason Martin fallen back for some type of team strategy reason, or to just have Denny G there to rear gun for him and be able to save some of his tyres in the longer run?
Yeah, he doesn't have to push quite as hard now. He's got somebody between him. There's a good little gap forming between the front runners now as well. We've got Jason Hardigan and Bradley Allison there, but from them to Foster, there's a bit of a gap forming of about 3/4 of a second. So there's a little bit of gap forming for Martin. He can just relax a little bit, not push quite as hard. He's still keeping up there though, and he's still keeping that sort of half-second lead. So definitely not falling off the pace, but maybe he's just relaxing a little bit, just getting comfortable to this run.
Yeah, and there's still battles going on all throughout this field as we're looking at Edward and Norman Clark and Mr. Jackson at the moment here, as Norman has just gotten in underneath him.
Nice move by Norman Clark there, getting up the field there and getting into the top 6 with his teammates. We've got 3 of the JP Simshed cars now in the top 6. That's going to make somebody very happy, I'm sure. But they'll hope it stays that way for the rest of the race, of course. But up front is the 2 teammates.
Carl will get a hit on the head with a hammer if he doesn't be quiet sometimes.
The curse of the commentator can be a harsh one sometimes, for sure. But look, hopefully we won't get one tonight.
Hopefully.
And just looking back a little bit, we've got some movement from Stephen Williams, who's caught up to Matt Hunter in 16th and is making a move as we talk, getting a very good amount of speed, bringing Joshua Carroll Walden with him. Good battle going on down there for those guys, catching up to Dave Douglas in the number 10, who had that strange incident down the back straight as well. This sort of mid-pack grid at the moment is quite fierce, all the way sort of up to Shane Thompson in 12th. They're very close together.
Yeah, we saw around Barry and Matthew and Josh Micklemore all battling just before.
And it looks like Stephen Williams has managed to make that move work and get past Matt Hunter there, as he's now coming up towards James Roby, going underneath Roby there and getting another place. Next on his list will be Dave Douglas, who's just a little bit further ahead.
Oh, he hasn't made that move stick there on Mr. James Roby.
Just falling back. It's something to do on Charlotte. You get that little bit of advantage and then it falls away quite quickly, just because the very inside line it's not quite as quick as that midline sometimes.
Yeah, we saw JCW just forcing the issue there a bit under Matt Hunter there, putting the nose in underneath there to get that pass done on Matt Hunter.
and Roby's just running a bit wide now, and that could give Stephen Williams the chance to get past him. But Joshua Carroll-Walden's looking very hungry as well. Is he going to try and make it go 3 wide? That could spell disaster here at Charlotte.
I don't think he would. He's a pretty smart racer. I think he's got a bit more common sense than to push it 3 wide this early on.
You can't win a race this early on, but you sure as heck can lose one.
That's for sure.
As Roby looks like he might have just tapped the barrier with his rear side there as he was coming through turn 4. Seems to have lost a little bit of pace, and it looks like Stephen Williams has got... And up at the front we've got the JP Simshed boys fighting. Norman Clark goes up for a pass on Foster, but doesn't make it stick, and he might lose a couple of positions here. He just got a little bit leery as he came through the corner, and that's dropped him back a little bit. And he's in a fight now between Bradley Allison and Callow. Bradley Allison's just going to drop back and give Norman Clark a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, Bradley may just be conserving at the moment, or maybe he knows those guys are a bit quicker on the tyres at the moment and just letting them by.
Absolutely, and one of those things you can do here is just ease off a little bit, conserve a little bit for towards the end of the race. You never know how long a stint's going to last here. Well, a caution-free stint, I should say. And if it does go green, it's good to sort of sometimes go an extra couple of laps and get a little bit of a longer first stint done, and cut down your second stint. We saw last year that one of the drivers managed to sort of stay out a bit too long at the final stint and lost position in the end. You don't want to stay out too long here at Charlotte because there is quite a big gain on fresh tyres.
And a lot of an undercut, yeah, big undercut.
Yeah, so we're just having a look through, and it looks like Mick Wilson's got some serious damage on the car, and unfortunately it looks like Kai Sloggett is pretty much done. Tristan Koch coming in for his pit stop. It doesn't look like there's much damage on the car, so I think he's just coming in for a pit stop on lap 36, so sort of bang on that sort of tyre drop-off period. So it looks like he might be going for a couple more stops than the rest of the field and just trying to hope that he works out well for him. Of course, doing that early stop now can work out well if we don't get a caution, as Jason Hartigan is going for Danny G at the moment. He's got a good run up the inside, and he looks like he might be able to make this one stick. Danny G's just on that outside line at the moment, and he drops down behind Hartigan. Hartigan getting a great move there, but will Danny G be able to get a better run off the corner? Doesn't look like it.
Oh, he might have, but Jason's going to cover going all the way down to the inside there.
He positioned the car beautifully there because Danny G did get that little bit of draft, but he's positioned that car so he could not get past, and he's lost speed and time by having to lift off there. So brilliant positioning by Jason Hartigan there. I'm going to be very happy about that, I'm sure. He did a very good job. Just a little bit further back, Norman Clark's actually managed to get past Edward Foster, who's sitting in 5th now, and got Jackson Callow battling away behind him.
Yeah, wasn't it only a couple rounds ago, Carl, that we had Jason and Jason going 1-2 as well, and we had to keep coming up with which Jason it was?
Yes, it's always fun when you get a lot of the same first names up the front. It's much worse if they share last names as well. That can get very confusing. But Martin on Hartigan at the moment, Martin's got quite a good lead, and Hartigan's really got to start chasing down to try and close that gap. But he is doing it. He's managing to gain about a 1/10 of a second per lap. So Hartigan's definitely got some speed. He might have just been sandbagging a little bit from that earlier stint, just easing off a little bit. Just to allow his tyres to have a little bit more life in them towards the end of the race, while Jason Martin has eaten into those tyres a little bit more by going faster earlier on in this stint, as a
Ooh,
Lapped car gets very close to catching out Danny G there.
That was quite scary moment there. As we ride on board here with Jackson Callow chasing down Ed Foster here at the moment. Sitting right in that draft coming down the back stretch.
Yes. And we've got Cloet, Dave Douglas as well having a good battle. As Dave Douglas tries to get back up the field after that early mistake, just getting a little bit loose on that rear end on the start of the race. And he's managed to make that one stick past Cloet. So a good pass for him. They've got to try and catch down Hamish Gallagher. It's a little bit up in the field. And then quite a bit further ahead of him is Barry Neal. Big gap between those guys at the moment. Around 3 seconds, almost 3.5 seconds. We are starting to see some of the drivers come into the pit lane though. A couple of the lower down drivers are definitely coming in for their pit stops. So I wonder if any of the front runners will make a early stop here tonight.
Yeah, and it looks like we've had a few retirements here tonight. One being Mark just recently, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like he's out, as well as Michael Latter and Kai Sloggett, unfortunately. Possibly Raymond Yeager. Raymond Yeager is still in the race, he managed to get back out there. But issues for Raymond Yeager early on. But Jason Hartigan is currently trying his best to catch, but it's not that easy. He's gaining a couple of attempts one lap and then losing a couple of attempts the next lap, as Jason Martin is putting on a dominant lead here at the moment.
Yeah, it's never going to be easy to sit back and try catch that car in front of you, but Jason's a very talented driver. Both Jasons are, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out here.
Absolutely, and now Hartigan has managed to get the monkey off his back for that first win. He's got a lot of pressure off of him now, and now he can focus on the racing a little bit more, which is a dangerous thing because Hartigan has got some serious speed underneath him.
Yeah, he has got a very serious back pocket full of speed.
And it looks like Norman Clark is on the run.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a bit of drive on those tyres. Maybe they're doing a bit better than Danny G's at the moment. He's stuck up there in the draft. Will he try to go under here and trim for, and Danny G leaves the door open for him to go underneath.
But of course, when you do go down low and do go underneath, you put the car slightly offline, and it's going through a tighter axis as well, especially on worn tyres. Sometimes the car just does not like that.
Yeah. And you just had another retirement. Mr. Peterson is retired from the race.
Hubby dropping out. Norman Clark getting a very good drive here as he cuts across the infield slightly. He's got a very good run as we come across the start-finish line, going underneath Danny G here. Looks like Norman Clark might make this one stick as Danny G starts to drop back.
Oh,
gets onto the back of a midfield pack driver, manages to pass him, gets past the 8085 and has stuck that one out. Brilliant move for Norman Clark there.
That would have been a clencher without that traffic coming up.
It would have been, yeah, and it's the closing speed sometimes is just amazing on these cars. You don't realise just quite how fast you're going. As Jason Martin starts to pull out a bit more of a lead now, he's 1.4 seconds ahead of Jason Hartigan, 2.4 seconds ahead of Norman Clark at the moment. So just a brilliant lead, and dropping down slightly is Foster as he comes into the pit lane. So that first front runner is into the pits.
Seeing a few come in: Hamish Gallagher, Bradley Ellison, Riley Curtis, ACW, Mr. Matt Hunter.
And yeah, quite a few drivers have come in. That sort of signal for the drivers of one of the front runners is pitting. We're all going to come in now, and they're going to try their best to get a good stop here under green and then get back out in front of the leaders. And Foster is back on the track. He's putting his foot down.
So these guys are probably more than likely going for a 3-stop strategy here tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 stops tonight unless we get some cautions. Of course, those are the big factor here tonight. If we get some cautions and things like that thrown out, that can make it very different. But Foster's now out, and that's going to be a big moment for the leaders because... and we've got a car in the wall. Sorry. We've got one of the cars in the wall, just behind Barry Neal, one of the lap cars. Trying to figure out who that is, sorry. Hammy Stein, I think it was, having a big moment coming into the across the start-finish line.
Yep, Jason Martin's coming in the pit. Sorry.
No, the leaders definitely got a pit now. They've got to put those cars in the pit stops and start covering themselves off as Norman Clark, Jason Hartigan, Jackson Callow, Barry Neal have all stayed out at the moment. But I can't imagine they'll stay out for too much longer.
No, Denny G.
And Hartigan is pitting.
Still in the pit lane.
And Norman Clark has come in as well, and that leaves Jackson Callow out with Barry Neal. They're staying out for an extra couple of laps, it seems.
Yeah, interesting call. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I have to see how those guys manage to get on from there. Of course, they'll have slightly better tyres towards the end of their run now, but the time you lose out there on those old tyres is quite a big one. Of course, you can roll the dice and hope for a caution, and that might be what Callow and Neal are doing right now, as well as people like Dave Douglas and Michael Skurlock.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. As we see Jace leaving the pit lane, getting past the car, 71 car there that's carrying some damage on the rear end.
Yeah, and we'll have to wait for everything to start calming down a little bit, but it looks like one of the main gainers out of those pit stops was, unsurprisingly, Edward Foster. The early pit stop definitely did get the undercut for him, and he's managed to get behind Jason Martin. He's about 1 second off Jason Martin at the moment, so he did manage to jump past his teammates with that one. As a few of the other cars come in, Michael Skurlock's come in for the pit lane now. Not sticking out there much longer. Jackson Callow and Barry Neal do keep out, along with Dave Douglas and Stephen Williams as well. So a few drivers are just sort of sticking it out there at the moment, just hoping for a caution. But if that caution doesn't come, they're going to lose a lot of time.
Yeah, definitely. And if they don't get a caution, like you said, they're going to lose a lot of time, and also just, yeah, overall, they may be hoping for something, but I don't know. It's going to be very hard to call it. Charlotte, yes, there's normally one big wreck, but it's hard to call when it's going to happen, Carl.
That's it. As Jason Martin comes up, and he's about to unlap himself right now, as he gets past Barry Neal, and he's going to get past Jackson Callow as well relatively shortly. He goes down to the inside and just flies past. You can just see the difference those new tyres make.
Yeah, as Edward Foster follows him through.
Oh, and just gets caught out by Jackson Callow there. He wanted to get through on that lap and get past, but Callow came down a little bit on him, which he's absolutely right to do. He's racing these guys, but that helped Jason Martin out for sure because Edward Foster was gaining there.
Now at this stage, has Jackson lost too much time? Once those guys get back past you as a driver, it's kind of a big loss of time, I believe.
Well, they've only got past to unlap themselves, so they're still down as we see Jackson Callow coming into the pits. Callow's coming into the pits now. Of course, what this is going to do is allow him to have a later pit stop for that second round of pit stops, and that could work out in his favour if a caution comes out. Barry Neal leads the race now with Dave Douglas behind him.
Yeah, it all depends on how the caution system plays out.
And another guy as well that has not pit yet is Lachlan. Lachlan in the 042 of JP Simshed. He's not stopped, so he's currently up there in 5th position. Again, one of those drivers that's rolling the dice at the moment. And Barry Neal has come in as well, so he's finally pulled that pin. Obviously, the longer you stay out here, the harder it is as well, because those tyres fall away and it gets harder and harder to drive this car.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that just becomes hard to drive over a long stint. They were not made for endurance, Carl, let's put it that way.
No, these cars aren't going to last 24 hours, and they're not going to do double stints on tyres without crying too much. They do not like that. But at the moment, Foster looks like he is the guy that's chasing down Jason Martin.
As we see James Roby come into the pit lane.
So another one of those front guys that's just not been able to stick it out too much longer. Must be not too much longer until we see people like Dave Douglas, Stephen Williams and Lachlan come in for their stops as well. Because they're doing mid-31s while the leaders are doing sort of high 29s at the moment. High to mid-29s. So they're losing a lot of time. About 2 seconds a lap out there, which is it's a lifetime in oval racing.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's not that great when you're losing that much time, but who knows, it could play out in their favour here. But the guys have been very, very well behaved out here tonight, as always.
Well, consistent racing out here tonight, which is what we'd like to see. Martinsville was a bit rough on the drivers, but Martinsville is one of those tracks that when it goes wrong, it goes very, very wrong very, very quickly. As we just see Dave Douglas coming into the pits this time round, but he almost collected Jackson Callow as he was coming through the corner as Dave Douglas was coming down to the pit lane. And we also see Lachlan coming in as well. Jason Martin retakes the lead. So everybody's coming for their tyres.
Yeah, that's everyone, so the order should be corrected now, and you should see the gap from the leader back, which is, as you can see there on screen, quite a distance. I believe it's about 2.5 to 3 seconds.
Yeah, and people that have gained positions at the moment, Josh Micklemore, one of them, has gained quite a few positions up there in 6th place, as well as Hamish Gallagher. Hamish Gallagher and Riley Curtis, Joshua Carroll-Walden have all done a blinder. They've managed to get up in the top 10 through those rounds of pit stops. They did stop a little bit earlier. The earliest was Joshua Carroll-Walden on lap 50, and it does look like he's starting to struggle a little bit now as his tyres start to go down a little bit quicker than those guys around him. Of course, stopping later also means that you've got fresher tyres now. So those guys that stopped a bit later on now are going to start catching their time back up because their tyres are going to be much fresher than the guys around them. But it's sort of position can be a bigger gainer here. We're seeing Edward Foster drop off quite a bit now as well. He stopped on lap 51, Jason Martin on lap 54. So are we seeing Foster's tyres dropping off a little bit faster than Martin's right now.
Jason Hardigan currently the fastest out there by 0.2 of a second.
Hardigan is definitely on a charge at the moment. He is absolutely flying out there, and he's catching his teammate at a vast rate of knots. Sitting behind him, as I say, is Josh Mickelmore as well, another driver that is absolutely flying and done a great job getting himself back up in the playing in the sort of high end of the field. He did stop a little bit earlier though, so his tyres might start dropping off. Now, of course, Jason Hartigan stopped a lap later than that of Martin as well, so his tyres are going to be fresher out there than the two guys ahead of him, so he should have a relatively easy time bringing down that gap now.
Yeah. Should have a relatively easy time, but we'll see. It all depends on how drivers use their tyres too.
That's absolutely it. We have seen on these the new generation tyre models on iRacing that some drivers are a little bit easier on them than others, and some get better feel from them than others as well. As we see, Jason Hartigan just breezed past his teammate there, getting past Foster for P2.
So yeah, there's some lap traffic between him and Jason Martin before they able to get back, as we see Denny G go under JCW, followed by Barry there, possibly.
Looks like Barry Neal's got that one done, and Norman Clark is just sitting around there as well, trying to get past them too. Will we see Norman Clark get through on JCW this time round? Not quite. JCW covers him off well, keeps the position of that car very good as he's sitting there. But JCW did stop quite early. He was one of the first stoppers on lap 50, so his tyres are about 5 laps older than everyone else around him.
Yeah, we've already seen Jason Hartigan get past Mr. Jaeger here. The first lap car that he's getting by here, making up some of that time.
Another guy making up time is Jackson Callow, one of the later stoppers, stopped on lap 62, and he's starting to climb up the order now. He's back to 6th position, and he's just chasing down Bradley Allison. There's a bit of a gap between the two, but he is catching him at a decent rate at the moment. Yeah, some good speed out there for Callow. He's sort of got himself on a relatively good strategy at the moment. A big loser out there was Danny G. As you said, it looked like he had a slow stop, so maybe he got pinged or something. Maybe he got a penalty or just missed his marks.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he might have had to go for a second stop. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Just one for him, so...
Just one? Okay, I apologise. He must have just got held in there for a long time.
Yeah, he lost out in quite a few positions, and he's fighting his way back though. He's carving his way through the drivers. He's just getting down past Riley Curtis at the moment, with Norman Clark not following him as well. So Norman on a charge as well, as this time round Jason Hartigan has managed to get it under 4 seconds for the gap between himself and Jason Martin. That time just going back to 4 seconds as I say that. But he's going to try and catch Jason Martin, but at the moment Jason Martin does have a 4-second lead, which is pretty decent.
Yeah, good little battle pack going on here with Denny G, Norman Clark and Riley Curtis. And now JCW pulling up into the rear shortly.
Yeah, these strategies, green flag racing brings us some different strategies, which is always what we like to see, because it does change things up quite a lot, and it can really throw for some interesting racing out there, because obviously when you do stop a little bit later, you're going to lose a bit of time. It's going to be painful for you when you're out there lapping, 2 seconds lap slower than everybody else. But when you get back out there on track, you start setting those very fast times. At the moment, Jackson Callow is setting low 29s, while up the front with Jason Martin, he's setting mid 29s. So 29. Sorry, looking at the wrong lap times there. Jackson Callow's setting mid 30s, and Jason Martin's setting late 30s. So he's almost got about 2/4 of a second difference on those front runners at the moment. He definitely has got a bit of speed on them.
Yeah, definitely got that speed on him, that's for sure.
And those fresher tyres definitely helping him out on that one.
Yeah, and there's still a long way to go yet, so see how it plays out, as there's a very tight pack here starting to form with Dave Douglas and a few of those guys, Matt Hunter, Matthew and Shay Thompson. Dave just went under Matthew, and that was for 14th there.
And he gets past Matt Hunter as well for 13th position. So Dave Douglas on the charge as well, and he's going to start catching up to Joshua Carroll-Walton as well relatively shortly. There is about a 3-second gap at the moment, but that gap is closing. But Dave Douglas was one of the last people to stop, remember? So he's on very fresh tyres, some 17 lap fresher tyres than Joshua Carroll-Walton at the moment. So that explains those times for sure. 17 lap difference on times is a lifetime around here, isn't it, really?
Yeah, as we see Jackson Cow go under Bradley Ellison there for 5th place.
Jackson Callow's looking pretty good at the moment. That sort of late stop, he pretty much timed it to perfection. He's having to do a bit more, he's having to work harder to get back up there, but he's getting his positions back. He's having a very good race out there at the moment. Good showing for Jackson Callow.
Yeah, it's going to be good for him unless he gets up there and his tyres are falling off from using them too much, but he's on a charge at the moment.
He's got the speed at the moment, and as long as he doesn't overdo it, as long as he doesn't overdrive the car, that's the main thing. Last time round, he was setting pretty much identical pace to the leader, Jason Martin, so he might have just started taking a little bit too much out of the tyres, but we'll have to see there. Josh Micklemore at the moment is the guy that's losing out. He is starting to fall off the pace a fair bit now, but we'll have to see how that goes as the laps go by. But yeah, it looks like he's starting to suffer a little bit for that earlier pit stop. Meanwhile, you've got Edward Foster that's got a nice gap from Josh Micklemore, Jason Hartigan who's got a nice gap to Edward Foster, and then Jason Martin who's got a nice gap to Jason Hartigan. So they're all pretty gapped out in the front at the moment, but these sort of mid to backfield is where everybody's charging at the moment. That's where we've got some drivers that are making up some enormous positions and making some serious speed.
Yeah, we got some big movers out from the mid to rear of the pack at the moment.
I'd say probably one of the hardest charges at the moment is Dave Douglas. He's putting some very good lap times at the moment, and he is catching Joshua Carroll-Walton at a great speed at the moment. He's only 0.6 of a second behind him now. It's not too long until he gets past. Then Riley Curtis is next on his list. Meanwhile, Norman Clark is also charging up the field. He's catching on Danny G at the moment, who can't do too much to fight off Norman Clark. Seems like Norman's just got the speed on him at the moment, and he's just got past the lap car, so not long until Norman Clark starts trying his best to get past Danny G.
Yeah, as we see Norman Clark under attack by
Raymond Yeager, I think that'll be.
I believe it is.
Sorry. On car. Similar car colours.
Yeah, lap traffic, sorry. Oh, that was full position for a second.
Tristan Koch. There we
Yeah.
go. Yeah, Koch coming in for his second stop, so he's got those fresh tyres as well. Interestingly, Michael Skurlock has come in as well for his next pit stop. As they get very close there. Danny G getting very close there to Tristan Koch.
Yeah, it seems like Koch has the speed over those guys at the moment with those fresher tyres.
Yeah, those fresh tyres definitely helping him out. See the difference those fresh tyres do make. Tristan Koch just stopped a couple of laps ago for those new sets of boots, and they're working very well for him. Stopped on lap 82, so much fresher. I expect to see everybody trying to make it and go as long as possible on this stint, and see how long they can go into the 100s before they come in for the pit stop, so they can make it to the end of the race without too much struggle.
Yeah, everything's just kind of playing out as is at the moment. We're watching a bit of Danny G here on the cameras. Now these Bradley Ellis and Hamish Gallagher, and
One of the closest fights at the moment is Norman Clark and Danny G. Norman is gaining on him at the moment. Another driver that's putting on some good moves is Dave Douglas as well, just behind them. He's catching on Riley Curtis. As Norman Clark gets a good look at Danny G, he's going to try go down the inside, thinks better of it. Is he going to do it? He feigns it. He's going to try it. And it looks like he might get this one done. Danny G's got some good mid-corner speed. It's going to be a drag race off the corner. Norman Clark's on the inside, so he's not going to have quite the speed. But those slightly fresher tyres look like they're working, and Norman Clark does get past Danny G. Fantastic move for position. Norman Clark up to 9th. And now Norman's going to be chasing down Bradley Allison in front of him. And hopefully Danny G is going to be trying to grip onto the back of Norman to keep up with that fight. As Hamish Gallagher's being caught by Allison at the moment. We've got a good little battle as well going on as Jackson Callow's catching up to Barry Neal too. So Callow is catching his way back up the field, who's in turn catching Josh Micklemore. So they're all catching each other at the moment as Josh Micklemore looks like he's coming in. Yes, Josh Micklemore is pitting. So the first of the front runners to pit is Josh Micklemore on lap 95.
yeah, Koch had a bit of a moment over the tri-oval right there in the background.
Looks like he's managed to keep it going at least, so no caution. So that's going to be making a few drivers very happy, I'm sure.
Jason Martin. Edward Foster has come in for his second pit stop now.
Yeah, I think what's happened there is Josh Micklemore is going to start triggering those guys for their pit stops now. People are going to start following them in so they don't lose too much time overall. Edward Foster was starting to lose a bit of time on the lead. He was sitting there in third, but he was starting to fall away a bit on tyres. Of course, coming in this early does mean you're going to drop tyres off at the end of the race, but he's come in now, he's going to gain some speed. Now it's going to be how long will Jason Martin stay out there?
I think Jason doesn't have to worry too much. He's got 4.5 seconds over the guys behind him.
Yeah, but once those cars get back up to speed, they'll probably be going about 2 seconds a lap faster once they get up to speed. So Foster was about 6 seconds down, I think, from memory, so it won't be long until he's got past Jason Martin again. But of course, the longer Jason Martin leaves it, he'll have fresher tyres for the rest of the race.
As Bradley comes in. or Barry, sorry, my apologies, has come in for his pit at the moment. And we're watching Jason just dealing with some lap traffic at the moment. Danny G's in for his pit stop.
Hopefully he'll get a better stop this time round. Jason Martin is remaining out there, along with Jason Hardigan. So those guys are looking to make it stick out there for some time. A guy that's looking good at the moment is Jackson Callow. He's still got some okay speed out there at the moment. Jason Martin as well is actually setting some decent lap times too. He's in the late 30s at the moment. Meanwhile, the guys that stopped are in about the mid 29s to late 29s. So currently a second a lap faster than Jason Martin. So he'll have to think about making that stop sooner.
Yeah, as we see Bradley Ellison, Hamish Gallagher and Matt Hunter come all in.
Yeah, it's going to be the big groups of cars pitting, and of course this is where a caution can come out, so leaving it a little bit later to stop now can be a good idea, because of course these drivers are coming into pit lane where a mistake can easily happen. Then they're getting back out onto the track on cold tyres, where again mistakes can easily be made.
Yeah, Riley Curtis in that lap.
And we can just see here as Josh Micklemore is just getting ahead of Norman Clark. He managed to get out the pits ahead of Edward Foster as well. So that the undercut was very strong there for Josh Micklemore. He managed to get ahead of Foster. So those two are battling for position at the moment. And Micklemore has made the move stick. So he's currently ahead of Foster in the actual standings. So once all this is over and done with, he should have the lead of the race.
Norman Clark has just come in for his service too.
About the time you would expect it, as Jason Martin is still out there. He's still setting a good lap, so he's in the sort of late 30s at the moment. Obviously not fresh tyre speed, but he's not that bad in pace. He's got some seriously good speed out there.
Dave Douglas has just come in for his pit. Sorry, Carl.
As Jason Martin comes into the stop now, he's coming in now.
Very nice. Gets that thing, ooh, a bit of a lock up there coming in.
Now, of course, for Jason Martin, he's got to make the stop stick. That's going to be the important part for him. We have seen in the past, missing his marks on the pit stop has been the Achilles heel of him. But he's been having much better luck in this season, as he stops on the marks perfectly. So Jackson Callow has now taken the lead. So he'll stick out there a little bit longer, I'd imagine, just because he did stop a little bit later. No, Jackson Callow is stopping now, as Jason Hardigan remains on the left track.
Yeah, and JCW just had his service done too. Yeah.
So a few cars still out there, not yet stopped for new
Here
tyres.
comes Jason Hardigan into pit lane now.
He couldn't stay out there much longer, as he would lose time hand over fist. Jason Martin getting back up to speed, and you can see the time he's lost to Foster here as well. He's lost a good few seconds to Edward Foster, who's ahead of him at the moment. So as all the time starts to pick up, and Foster's actually managed to get ahead of Josh Micklemore, more importantly. So effectively, Foster does have the lead of the race at the moment. cautions withstanding. But Foster is the front runner of those guys that have made a pit stop. So good job on Foster's front.
Yeah, very good job there. But Edward is always a strong performer out here in the ANZCAR races.
He is indeed, and he's also just recently upgraded some of his kit as well. Got direct drive wheel, which has been something to get used to, of course, when you do change from the old Logitech G27s to something like a direct drive. There is a big difference in the way the cars feel. But he's starting to make use of that now and getting a decent run here. He's got some serious pace out there tonight.
Yeah, it's always a big step up from a G27 to a direct drive, and I got the HRS system, hybrid racing simulation system. And yeah, it was a very big step up, and you'd never want to step back, but there's a lot of fine tuning that you can do with those things. And I was talking to Ed last week, and he said he was playing around with finding that fine tuning.
Trying to get that perfect spot for it to work, of course. And now we see the strange thing of the leading cars not being quite as fast as the lapped cars, of course, because they're all on slightly different strategies. But Josh Micklemore's going to try and make this one stick, as Edward Foster had to let some people pass. Foster comes down, manages to keep him low. Micklemore's got a good run here, though. And Foster's been left out wide. Through that lap traffic, they go three wide through Charlotte. That's a dangerous thing to do as they go past Luckland. And Josh Micklemore has managed to get in the front and take the lead. Foster led that lap, though. It's a fight for the lead right now between these two, as Jason Martin comes up behind them.
Yeah, just side by side here, coming down the back stretch. Yep, trying to get a bit of side draft, getting as close as they can to each other. Able to stay in that high to mid line as Josh stays right down low there.
And while they're battling, this is allowing Jason Martin to come up behind them. And Jason Martin has got some serious speed. He looks like he might just come up here and pick both of them off with ease.
He might make it 3 wide here and just go around both of them.
And it looks like that's what he's doing as he goes down below. He goes down trying to take the inside of his teammate. Thinks better of it, though. Bravery is the better part of valour. As he comes through and pushes him in. He's going to get Josh Micklemore next, maybe. Foster keeping to the side of Martin. This is great racing here.
Yeah, this is a great racing from both the JP Simshed and Mitch Motorsport guys.
As Josh Micklemore moves up the track, looks like Jason Martin's going to go down low and get past him this time. Teammates working it out there. Edward Foster getting stuck behind those two. He's trying to get inside of Josh Micklemore. Can't quite do it that time round. Doesn't have enough grip to get the tyres down low. Jason Martin has regained the lead, but the battle is not over for second place as Josh Micklemore and Foster fight onwards.
Oh, as we see Ed go right down below the white line there to try to make something work. Looked like he might have gave Josh a little bit of a rub there. Does it look like the back of that Mitch Motorsport car got a little upset there?
A little bit of blue paint steps to the white paint of the Mitch Motorsport car there. But rubbing is racing, as they say. And nothing wrong with a friendly little bit of rubbing down the straights here. As Foster tries again to get back on the slipstream of Micklemore. Meanwhile, Jason Martin is just pulling out a bit of a lead here. He's trying to help his teammate out as much as he can, but he's so much faster, he's not going to be able to offer that slipstream much longer to him.
No, as we see Jason Hardigan charging up through the field at the moment. Just past Bradley Ellison now, trying to get past Denny G. Dealing with some lap traffic as this happens as well.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of cars on lots of different strategies now, and this is where it can all happen because everybody's racing their own strategy here. You've got cars that are a couple of laps down faster than the leaders. You've got leaders' cars that are are faster than some of the other cars. It's just nobody knows who's faster at the moment.
Yeah, and, yeah, everyone's there. On all the teammates trying to help themselves as the JP Sim Shed car of Jason Hardigan makes it past the Mitch Motorsport car of Danny G there.
Great manoeuvre there by Jason Hartigan. And now he's got his teammate in front of him a little bit further down the road of Lachlan. Lachlan, of course, not stopping yet. He's out there on those that second set of tyres from the start of the race. He's just sticking out there a little bit longer, possibly hoping for a caution. It's not working out in his favour, though.
No, not at this stage. But who knows, we have seen a lot of bunching and packs at the moment due to lap cars.
A lot of speed differences as well, and the closing speed differences are the things that can really catch you out here.
As we see Jason go past his teammate Lachlan with ease.
I can't see Lachlan putting up too much of a fight, especially with those tyres as worn as they are. We've got one of the DPR cars coming up on Edward Foster now. That is a lap down at the moment. I believe it is Phil Otto. No, sorry, it's Sting Williams. There we go. Guaranteed to get it wrong. There was a 50-50 chance and I got it wrong. But Foster's jumped up to try and get in his slipstream, trying to get past Micklemore right here. Trying to get the move done as one of the lap cars gets past him. Doesn't quite work from this time round, but put Micklemore on a slightly different line, so he's going to try his best to get through there. As Micklemore positions the car perfectly to stop Foster getting through.
Yeah, Foster all over the back of him at the moment, but just can't find the space to get on by.
Meanwhile, up front, Jason Martin has pulled a 3.5 second lead over the two cars behind him, and that is a very good place to be. Speaking of guys that are catching up, Jackson Callow now, right on the back of Foster. Jackson Callow has got some serious speed here. He stopped relatively close to that of just after Jason Martin, so he's on those very fresh tyres as he tries to get past Foster. Very, very close here. Gets right on the back of Foster, who's right on the back of Micklemore here. We've got a three-way tie for second place at the moment. They are really battling hard.
Yeah, it's still about 25 laps to go, and these guys are starting to, I guess, get itchy feet and wanting to make moves. As Jason Martin has got about a 4-second lead at the moment.
They're getting very itchy for those positions for sure. As also catching on Foster is Barry Neal. Another great race from Neal, who's just about to get Jason Hartigan flying past him. Jason Hartigan gets down low, gets past Barry Neal. But meanwhile, Jackson Callow is putting some pressure on Josh Micklemore. Foster is doing what he can to stick on the back of Callow as well, so he's going to try and use Callow as a bit of a battering ram here. As Callow tries to make it look, go down wide, go down low, he's getting the look, he's thinking about it, Foster gets down low as well to get the slipstream here. Now he's jumping back up to Micklemore, not sure who's going to follow, but it looks like it's going to be Callow. If he can time this right, he might be able to get past Josh Micklemore. He's going to try his best. Doesn't quite manage it this time round. Micklemore's got a bit of drive here, still on Callow. Callow on the inside with Foster now. The drivers are really trying their best. Foster is just picking away at the bones, trying his best to get those positions, but on those slightly more worn tyres, can't quite get the grip that he wants and the drive, but he's getting the drag from Callow, and that's it. He's getting the draft right now, which is helping him. As Micklemore is put out wide. Now, if Micklemore gets put out too wide, he might get on the marbles and lose a little bit of grip as the caution flag is out. And it's Norman Clark, unfortunately. Norman Clark for the caution. go back and quickly see what happened there.
As we have a replay coming up here shortly.
Hopefully catch it. Looks like Norman Clark got a tank slapper across the front stretch and lost it across the tri-ovalish section. Gets that tank slapper on, gets into the outside wall, and a big hit, and he ends up in the pit lane afterwards. A real shame for Norman Clark there.
Yeah. Disappointing after a good run so far this race.
Now this has effectively neutralised the race. It's going to be who comes in for tyres now. I'd imagine everybody's going to come in for a stop because
I would
the
imagine
advantage
everyone.
of fresh tyres now is going to be huge.
If you're stuck out there on old tyres, you're just going down the field. Or are they going to make me eat my words?
Looks like they are all coming in. Doesn't look like anyone's looking to make a brave move out there tonight. Stephen Williams has stayed out, but I think he was about a lap down, so we'll see how that goes.
Who's going to be the winner out of a pit lane here?
The race for pit road is on. I think Jason Martin's got a clear advantage on this race, but it's going to be between Foster, Micklemore, and Callow. And it looks like
Jason away very quickly. Did he take 4 or 2? So he got a big jump on everyone else.
looks like Callow took all 4 tyres, so he just got a very good pit stop there. So yeah, Callow making the best of that pit stop and getting out in front of those guys. But they are all on equal footing now. Everybody is on the same tyres. Everybody's on the same fuel loads. Well, roughly. So pretty much equal now for everybody. So the race is effectively neutralised for all of these guys, and it's now a race to the flag. As we've got just over 20 laps to go.
Do you want to make any prediction, Carl?
I've got to say Jason Martin. He's been fast all night. He's shown that even on the even at the start, he had some serious speed, and I've got to say Jason Martin tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. He's had a lot of there or thereabouts finishes this year. And he's been just unstoppable out there tonight with his pace, and he's been in a league of his own. So yeah, I'm with you there on that one, Carl.
Yeah, and we'd say he's been there or thereabouts this season. He has had a win this season. One of the pretty much the only sort of guy in the top 5 of the championship now without a victory is Edward Foster, who is currently on a duckhead for wins, but he's just been consistent as well. So this could be a race for him. You never know. But Jason Martin has just got some serious pace out there tonight. He's just got that perfect line and is just running very strong. Although Jackson Callow could be a good contender here, but he does have some damage to that car, and who knows how much that's going to affect him. Now, before we go back to green, just want to give a big shout out for Track Cams for Gourmet, for giving us these beautiful camera angles tonight. If you are interested in those, it's head to his email address of trackcams22.com. That's trackcams22.com. Track Cams for Gourmet, giving us these beautiful camera angles tonight, which are really helping out the stream, making everything look much nicer.
Yeah, the stream is beautiful as always. Thanks to producer JP.
Yes, the unsung hero in the booth. That gives us all the information, makes us sound smart. As they start to line up 2 by 2 right now, it's going to be Jason Martin and Jackson Callow on the front row with Josh Micklemore and Foster on the second. Now, Jason Martin has his teammate right behind him, so they could work something out here together. Who knows what they'll do, but if they can work something out well with their restart, they could get a good start here. JP Simshed have got 2 cars up there as well with Hartigan and Foster. Danny G's not out of the picture yet. He's down there in 7th. Another one of the Mitch Motorsport boys. Pretty big battle coming on. And in 10th place is Dave Douglas, the traditional number 10 car in 10th place. He always manages to find a way just to scurry his way back into the top 10, Dave Douglas. But Jason Martin's going to have to restart here. We'll see how this one goes, as the pace car will be coming in shortly.
And away we go. Jason Martin getting a good jump there, followed by his teammate Micklemore, and Edward Foster jumps down below. Jackson there for 3rd, and then swings back out on the exit of the corner.
Danny G trying his luck, going down underneath Jason Hartigan at the moment. He gets the move done. He actually gets it done as Jason Hartigan goes round. He gets caught and goes up into the barriers. Big hit for Hartigan. He manages to stop it before he goes up into the traffic. Almost a huge crash there. Jason Hartigan just managing to catch the car in time not to cause a bigger wreck. But that is a huge shame for Hartigan. He's coming into the pits to hopefully get that repair done. Although he might get a ping for coming into the pits under the caution right now. But we are back under caution.
I thought that was going to be the big one there for a second.
It almost was. If Hartigan didn't put the brakes on, he would have been going up into the traffic, and that would have been a huge accident there. So, cool head prevailing there for Hartigan. He did very well not to cause a bigger wreck.
As we watch a slow-mo replay.
So it looks like he might have got a little bit of aid there from Dave Douglas, just catching him just underneath as he was battling with those cars of Dave Douglas and Danny G. But yeah, he did very well not to come back up on the track because he hit the wall at an awkward angle that pinged the car back up the track. He managed to lock the wheels enough so not to go into the queue of cars behind him. They will have all had a moment of, oh, that's a scary moment. But they managed to avoid the accident, so that could have been much larger.
Yeah, it looked on the replay there that Dave Douglas might have just brushed him, but there wasn't too much in it by the looks of it.
And
There's Norman Clark.
the...
It's a lucky dog. Sorry, Carl, I'm trying to save you some talking. Because I know your throat's hurting with your cold at the moment.
Yes, it's probably noticeable that my voice is starting to go.
Yeah, it just disappeared halfway through the stream.
Yeah, but Norman Clark back on the lead lap, so he's going to be pretty happy about that one. Well, not too happy about that because of his teammate, but at least it's got him back into the action. Jason Martin, of course, is going to be setting up for the restart, but this time he's going to have Joshua Micklemore on the outside and Foster behind him.
Yeah, so the JP Simshed guys aren't out of it yet, by any means.
Nor is the Pace Syndicate car of Jackson Callow, and of course Barry Neal as well, who's having a great race at the moment. In the Cognitive RS team, having a great run at the moment up there in 5th place. I've got to say, absolutely beautiful colour on that car. The Golf livery that it has, the beautiful light blue with the orange on there. Absolutely fantastic looking car.
That's your favourite one out there, isn't it, Carl?
I must admit, I do love the Golf racing colours. One of my favourite colour schemes of motorsport. And interesting tidbit, I can't remember if I actually said this over stream yet or not, but the original Golf livery, it was actually a very dark blue. It wasn't that beautiful duck egg blue that we see today of the Golf racing team. It was a very dark blue. but on black and white TVs, it didn't show up because it was too similar to the orange. So they changed it to the light blue, so it showed up better on black and white TVs back in the day. Interesting story, completely irrelevant, but that's what you get when I'm broadcasting.
I remember, I think you told me back in Daytona that story, Carl.
Probably, yeah.
There you go for all our new viewers.
And thank you to all of those new viewers as well. We're going up and up with viewers, and that's what we like to see. And remember to subscribe to the JP Simshed broadcast on YouTube, Twitch, all those other areas, Facebook, things like that, because there are other series that do race. It's not just the ANZCAR.
Yeah, I had a go at commentating the Club Day Masters and V8s a week ago. That's they turn two ways, Carl. Did you know that?
Two ways? What's this heresy? If you're not turning left, you're not racing. That's it, you know. Absolutely. The V8 series coming to an end soon. It's coming towards the end of the series, and for them, but a very successful first season for those. And of course, with ANZCAR, there is of course the truck series that has just restarted for its second season. That runs on Monday nights at the same time as the Cup series, and that's of course for all drivers, just to get up and coming drivers into the series, into the feeder series, so to say. And get them up to Cup standards, and it's a very fun series to race in. We were racing at the dirt oval of
Eldora.
thank you. Yes, on Monday, and that was something very different.
How did you go there, Carl?
I finished 15th out of 32, so
nice.
I was quite happy about that. But there was quite a few cautions as well. So anyway. Pace car coming in. We're going to go back to green flag this time
I was
around.
tempted to come do that one, but I knew it would be a bit of a caution fest, to say the least. As I say, Jason getting that beautiful jump again.
Fantastic restart from Martin. Foster also had a good jump as well. Danny G looking good back there too. He's getting on the back of Jackson Callow at the moment. Josh Micklemore's managed to slip down there behind his teammate as well. As Danny G makes the pass, he's looking down on the inside of Callow. Callow cuts down in front of Danny G there with a forceful no on him. But Danny G's pushing nonetheless. He's really going for it as he almost touches the grass there. Danny G putting it all out there, and he is really going for it now. As we see a car getting a little bit loose towards the back of Hamish Gallagher, getting a bit of a tank slapper on, but manages to save it. Danny G getting past Gallagher. Foster now looking to pass Micklemore. They're all going for it now, as we have only 12 laps to go.
Yeah, I think they're just letting everything out now and putting it all on the line for these last 12 laps. It's a sprint race now, not a endurance.
That's it. It's everything for the line, and Danny G has got some great pace right now. It's coming up onto the back of Foster as we talk. As Foster tries to get back on Micklemore again, just has to lift off a little bit there. But that's going to allow Danny G to get down the inside.
Whoa.
Foster sees it, he cuts down, stops Danny G from getting there. Danny G's have to lift off a little bit. That's allowing Matthew Clurt to get by him. Absolutely brilliant racing out there. Great blocking, great racing. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, I was riding on board with Danny G there. And that was a... Oh, there's a bit of contact there, I think, just then.
Very, very close to it for sure. I think they just missed each other. It would have been a cigarette paper between them though, as Danny G's now on the outside of Foster, getting a push from Cluett. As Cluett pushes him along, Danny G's on the outside getting that side draft. He's going to try and get ahead of Foster right now. His teammate manages... Oh, big hit there. Side hit to Foster from Danny G. Definite contact there though. No doubt about it. But Foster manages to keep the car on the line and on the track, and manages to just about keep position. Danny G's going to get past, but Foster's going to look to get back at him.
This is just letting Mr. Martin drive away here.
giving Jason Martin that opportunity just to pull away without too much bother. And this is allowing Jackson Callow to get a good run as well. Foster losing a bit of speed from that bit of contact, and he's going to get swarmed by those drivers behind him. Cluett, Callow and Neal, they're just coming up to him now. Danny G's got a good run on his teammate as well, getting a good run on Josh Micklemore as we speak. Foster's now got Callow down underneath him.
Eagle might get swallowed up here a bit by the field.
As it looks like they're looking at going 3 wide, they think better of it round the corner. Although very close to the corners, as close to 3 wide as you want to get it, Charlotte. They are trying it. Foster's got the speed back. He's now sitting beside Cluett, and he's trying to catch back to Danny G right now. They're really going for it.
Yeah, they're filling every bit of tarmac they can at the moment.
Kicking the fuel pumps as they go, trying to get a little bit more in there, trying their best to get as much speed as humanly possible. Matthew Cluett has got a good run at the moment, but Foster's got a better run on the outside. It looks like he might be able to get this position back. Cluett has been putting in some good defence, and he's getting a nice little push from Jackson Callow behind him as well. As Foster goes a little bit wide, and that might cost him as the two get close as you can get. As Callow goes down, makes it 3 wide down Charlotte. As they go into the corner, and Cluett comes out worse for a bit. Cluett's gone round. He's managed to somehow get the car in shape to stop the big one coming, but the caution has come out.
Oh, that was scary. Oh, that was going to be another big one there, but only a few cars affected.
Somehow that was not a bigger crash.
Yes.
That was almost an almighty wreck there.
As we go to a replay here, slow-mo. Someone who looks like they were very lucky to make it through without too much contact is Bradley Allison. May just slightly push the rear.
Looks like Callow caught him there, and Bradley Allison did go up into the wall. Sort of triggered a... Barry Neal went up into the wall, sorry. Sort of triggered a little bit of a secondary accident, but everybody managed to keep the car in the right direction. Even Matthew Cluett, who only dropped down to about 11th from that crash. That could have been so much worse. That was a very, very lucky one for all of those drivers.
Yeah, as we see a fake out by both Jason Martin and Danny G there on Edward Foster to try to see what would happen, but they all pulled out of the pit lane.
The only people that are taking advantage of this, by the looks of it, is Shay Thompson and James Roby. They are on this lap, and Norman Clark as well. They're all on the league lap, so they're going to come in with some fresh tyres and hopefully make up some positions as we go for the green-white checker. Back counting in my head now if we will get a green-white checker, but it's going to be close to it.
Trying to do maths.
Yeah, don't do maths with a cold, it doesn't work very well. But yeah, Jason Martin is sitting in the prime position at the moment, still in first place. And he's got his 2 teammates behind him. So up top guarding him will be Josh Micklemore, and his rear gunner will be Danny G. So he has got some good support from his team right here, and it's looking good for Mitch Motorsport for a 1-2-3 at the moment. I was just looking through the drivers that have gained some good positions through this race. Josh Micklemore, one of them, 11 positions in this race. Down in 8th place, Joshua Carroll-Walden, he's managed to gain 16 positions. Big gainer for the race, though, is Riley Curtis down there in 10th position, gaining 21 spots so far this race. Brilliant drive from Riley Curtis. He's going to be pretty stoked about that one in the A1 Sim Sports car.
Yeah. Very good drive by Riley there. We saw him in the V8 Supercar series this week also have a very good drive.
Good all-rounder Riley Curtis, and of course the head of the Riley Curtis design team back in the day, which was Foster's team back last year, as well as Dave Douglas. Big team of guys back then. Admirals, I can't say the word right now. They had a friendly split and moved their separate ways, but it's good to see Riley Curtis back up there. He's just behind his former teammate of Dave Douglas in 9th place.
Yeah, as it looks like we will have a green-white checker as the lights are still on the pace car.
Looks like it's going to be the case, yes. So lights will go out on the pace car this time round, and it will be the...
Did your maths work for you, Carl?
I can't even think if they did. My brain is not registering at all right now. The lights should go out of the pace car this time round, though, and we'll be looking at a restart. Yep. So the restart with the hybrid racing simulations white flag lap, and then the finish. And you must say it's looking good for Jason Martin at the moment.
Yeah, he's looking very strong out there. I don't see it going wrong for him unless one of his teammates or someone around him gets a better jump, but Jason Martin seems to have those restarts down pat.
Yeah, he's just got something here at Charlotte. He just has that extra bit of speed, and definitely goes well here. As I said, prior seasons definitely letting us know about that one. But on form in this race is Jason Martin, and well, you've got to say the Mitch Motorsport team as well, as they currently sit there with 3 cars in the top 3 positions. Edward Foster in 4th on the outside line, just behind Josh Micklemore. How's his restart going to go? He could be the fly in the ointment out here tonight, as the pace car is going to come sliding in, and we're going to go back to green flag racing. We'll be quiet for this one unless something big happens. And away we go. As Jason Martin does make the best of that restart, he keeps out in front for the hybrid racing simulations. 1 lap to go. It looks like Danny G's just lost a little bit of time to Jackson Callow, and Edward Foster's going to make him pay for that. Edward Foster going down the inside as we're 3 wide down the back straight. Foster's trying to push it now, and looks like he might get past Danny G right now. Jason Martin is in the lead. Josh Micklemore behind him. Jackson Callow trying to follow up, and there's a huge wreck behind them. It's absolutely almighty crash down the back straight. As the race has finished, but there was a huge crash down the back straight before they hit there. Quite a few cars involved in that. I saw Skurlock involved in that one for sure. Stephen Williams, there was a big wreck down the back, but Jason Martin has taken out the victory. Josh Micklemore 2nd, Jackson Callow in 3rd.
Yeah, we still have a wreck of a car sitting on the front stretch.
It looks like
James Roby.
Yeah, he's gone round and caught them up, and he's gone flying up in the air and then caught a lot of other cars behind him. So that was from about 10th down, that one. So has affected a couple of drivers. It's actually gotten a few up a little bit higher. So in 4th place was Edward Foster, 5th place Danny G, 6th Bradley Allison, 7th Dave Douglas, 8th was Joshua Carroll Walden, 9th was Lachlan, And Riley Curtis in 10th. I'll let you take you through the rest, Jono.
Yep. Barry in 11th, Shay Thompson in 12th, Stephen Williams in 13th, Matt Hunter in 14th, Hamish Gallery in 15th, Michael Skurlock 16th, Norman Clark 17th, Matthew P in 18th, James Raby 19th, Tristan Koch 20th, James Dyke 21st, Phil Otto in 22nd, and just Stacey Walker in 23rd, Robert Fletcher 24th, Paul Jackson 25th, Hemi Stemmet in 26th, 27th is Mick Wilson, 28th Jason Hardigan, 29th Raymond Yeager, 30th Mr. Peterson, 31st Mark Jackson, 32nd Kai Snoggett, and 33rd Michael Otterman.
Absolutely eventful race out there tonight, but Jason Martin put a dominant victory in there. Absolutely dominant one, and a pretty dominant one for the Mitch Motorsport team.
Yeah, really good out of the Mitch Motorsport garage tonight. It was nearly a 1-2-3 for them at one point, but they just didn't come down to it in the end.
No, just missed out there on the end as Jackson Gallo and Edward Foster just put a little bit of a fly in the ointment, but I doubt they're going to be too upset about that one. I'll let you handle the interviews for tonight, Jonathan.
All right. We'll grab down Jason Martin here and have a chat to him. Hello, Mr. Jason Martin. How are you?
Oh, yeah. Mate.
Impressive race out there tonight. You had the pace all race long, and just a super dominant run all around.
Yeah, thanks, man. I knew it was pretty important to look after the tyres there because I'd done a race here about probably a month ago, and after 15, 20 laps, if you abused them tyres, people dropped off, so you had to really look after them.
Yeah, it seemed like tyres were very important out there tonight, as we saw the undercut being very strong, but you had the pace to stay out there and put up with those guys that tried the undercut.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure when to pit, so I just wanted to try and stay ahead of them when I came out of the pit stop.
Yeah. Definitely had the best car out there and the best drive tonight. Is there anything you'd like to add? And
I'm just glad to finally have some luck going my way and finally get that win with Carl watching.
yeah, it was your second win this season, and you've always been a quick and dominant driver out there, so it's good to get as many wins as possible under your belt for the championship.
Yeah, real happy with that, and for a while there I thought it was going to be a Mitch Motorsports 1, 2, 3, but it wasn't to be, but oh well.
Yeah, if they wouldn't have been that green-white checkered, it might have been a Mitch 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
But
that would have been good.
yeah, it would have been really good to see. Is there anyone you'd like to thank? Anyone that gets it done for you week in, week out?
Got to thank BK Designs. Got to thank the boys at Mitch Motorsports because they put on a few practice sessions and we all help each other out a fair bit, so that's pretty good. Got to thank ANZCAR for the league. It's one of the best leagues I've ever been in. And of course, you guys for putting on a broadcast for everybody to watch.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and thank you for putting on a great show for us to watch out there tonight.
Cheers,
Is there
mate.
anything?
I'm sure that yellow spiced it up at the end.
Oh, it very much did. It was very much Jason's out in the lead by 4 seconds there for a long time.
I think we needed that yellow. That was good.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to add?
That's it. Thanks, mate.
Thank you, Jason, and congratulations on the win out there tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Go and enjoy it, mate.
Hell yeah. I will.
Josh Micklemore will be with us shortly, I believe. So we'll get our third place finisher here with Mr. Jackson. Hello. Hello, Jackson. How are you? Jonathan here with you.
Hi, how you going?
Good. Very strong drive out there tonight.
Yeah, nah, geez, it was a pretty fun race actually. First race in the ANZCAR for a while, and yeah, no, long race. So,
Yeah, is this your first race with Pace Syndicate?
no, I've been with them for a while. I haven't really done ANZCAR for the last 12 months, but yeah, first time back, and yeah, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the name floating around, so I wasn't sure if you were a new driver or what. But awesome drive out there tonight. Very dominant out there. But yeah, third place is great to come back on after 12 months.
Cheers, it was a good race at the end there with the Mitch Motorsport boys and Edward and Matty Clark. Shame that the incident happened there, but it was just hard racing, and thanks everyone that put.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to add at all?
Yeah, just like to thank all the boys at Pace Syndicate for helping me out and putting a good team together. Worm Paints, Racewire, and North Brisbane Slots for their help as well. And yeah, ANZCAR and you guys for putting on the broadcast.
Well, awesome job out there again tonight, and hopefully we see you around now more often, and we see some more really good results out of you. Congratulations on the third place tonight.
Thanks, mate.
Go and enjoy it, mate. Have a good night.
You too. Cheers.
Yep. Now we'll get Mr. Josh Mickelmoy, our second place finisher, in here for tonight. How you going, Josh?
Hey, you guys, good. Thanks. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're going quite well, thank you. Amazing drive out there tonight. Second place finish, 1-2 for the Mitch Motorsport machines.
Yeah, we had a bit of a slow start tonight. Qualifying was a little bit terrible for me tonight. Qualifying about midfield, but we knew we had good long run pace. So as long as they had the greens out as long as we can, I knew I was good in the long run. Short run I wasn't as good tonight, but long run definitely I was had some good long speed there.
Yeah, we noticed that throughout the race that your cars were stronger on the longer run than other guys were on the shorter run. You definitely had good tyre saving strategy or whatever you were doing out there tonight. Jason was saying in here before that you did a few practice sessions beforehand and that you found out that how to save the tyres and how to do certain things to make that stint last longer on those tyres out there tonight.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we did a fair bit of testing on this tyre package for this week, putting in a bit of time just to nut out a few little things. And yeah, it's definitely paid off for sure.
Yeah, definitely a great result for the Mitch Motorsport guys, and could have been a 1-2-3, but wasn't meant to be, I guess. Maybe another time, but great second place finish. And is there anything you'd like to add? And before we say thanks to the sponsors, food.
Yeah, we were close to 1-2-3 tonight. Like a couple of weeks ago, got it in the truck 1-2-3. We haven't quite got it in the Cup Series or 1-2-3 in the Cup Series yet, but we're close. But we're just Daniel was close, but just wasn't meant to be tonight. But still, we'll had a good race tonight and kept out of the crap, and banked some more positions, points and that for the championship as well, which is good.
Yeah, that'll be starting to come into a bit more of a play here. Coming into the, I guess, second half of the season.
Yeah.
Is there anyone you'd like to thank, and who gets it done for you here on a weekly basis?
Yeah. Thank you for you guys for broadcasting the event again. It's great to watch it back. JP Simshed and JP, thanks, mate, for everything you've done this year. And the sponsors, BK Designs, Nexus Esports, Mitch Motorsports, Jason Martin and Daniel for tagging along for the fun. And
Well, thank you for putting on a show for all our viewers out there tonight. We appreciate it. It gives us a bit more excitement to commentate with, and you definitely had that pace on the long run. Like you said, you pulled back through the field there several times after pit stops and that. So great run out there, and go and enjoy your second place with the boys tonight.
I have a quick drink, I reckon.
Why not?
No worries, guys.
Have a good one. We'd like to thank all our new viewers and all our new followers and subscribers across all our platforms here tonight. We thank all of our sponsors, Abruzzi, Raceware, Hybrid Racing Simulation, JP Simshed, and all of our commentators and staff here tonight. And from me and Carl, we say good night.